This is Untold, not the pretty version of leadership, not the polished one, the real one. Today we're talking about something women in leadership feel deeply, but rarely say. The unspoken tension between being a woman and being the one in charge. There's a part of leadership nobody tells women about. Not because it's dramatic, but because it's uncomfortable to admit. It's the moments when you walk into a room and you already know you'll be judged before you even speak. Too soft, you're emotional. Too direct, you're aggressive. Too quiet, you're insecure. Too confident, you're intimidating. It's funny, men can be one thing, women have to be 10. And the truth? You get tired. Not tired of leadership, tired of being read wrong before you even start. Femininity doesn't bother you, it bothers the room. They don't know what to do with a woman who is both calm and decisive, soft and sharp, warm and non-negotiable. And for years, you try to adjust. Tone it down, tone it up, smile more, smile less, explain, under-explain, over-explain. And then one day you think, for what? What exactly am I trying to prove? And to whom? That's when everything changes. Not outside, inside. You stop trying to be the right kind of woman for leadership. You lead the way you actually are. Femininity is not a problem. Other people's discomfort is. And when you stop apologizing for who you are, your leadership finally sounds like your own voice. You also learn something else over the years. People aren't reacting to you. They're reacting to their own idea of what a woman should sound like in power. You notice it in small details. The way someone raises an eyebrow when you give a direct instruction. The way people look at each other when your tone is firm. The way someone calls you strong with that tone that really means stronger than I'm comfortable with. It doesn't make you angry. It just reminds you how much interpretation women leaders work through before the actual work starts. And you keep leading. Not louder, not softer, just consistent. Because at some point, you stop paying attention to how people read you and start paying attention to how you read yourself. And the moment you trust that version, the real one, the noise around you becomes background. Not gone, just irrelevant. You still notice the comments. You still notice the looks. You still notice when someone tries to test your confidence to see if it breaks. It doesn't. Not because you're unshakable, but because you've already lived enough life to understand what actually matters. Femininity doesn't compete with leadership. It only competes with people who don't know how to handle both. In the same person. But that's their limitation, not yours. And when you stop carrying that tension as your responsibility, you finally lead the way you were meant to. Without explanation, without adjusting, without asking permission to be a woman and a leader at the same time. And there's another part women don't talk about. The part where a femininity actually becomes useful, but no one gives it credit. You see things faster. Not because you're emotional, but because you pay attention to patterns, to changes in people, to details that men overlook because they're focused only on the surface. You sense when someone on the team is sleeping long before their numbers show it. You feel when the atmosphere is off, even if everything looks fine on paper. You notice the small shifts, tone, energy, the way someone suddenly avoids eye contact, and you understand that something is happening that will affect the business later. No one calls that a skill, but it saves companies more often than strategy does. They call it intuition, as if it's something mystical. It's not. It's an experience, observation, awareness, and consistency. But because it comes from a woman, people file it under soft skills, instead of calling it what it is, competence. And you learn to live with that too. You stop expecting people to acknowledge what only you can see. You stop needing validation for things you know you're right about. You stop explaining your instincts to people who only trust numbers. Because at some point, you realize your accuracy speaks louder than anyone's doubt. And when you're consistently right, people eventually stop questioning how you knew. They just learn to trust that you do. Another thing no one warns you about. When you're a woman in leadership, people will test you more. Poke at your decisions. Watch your reactions. Try to see if your confidence is real or something you're performing. And you let them. Not because you need to prove anything, but because their tests say more about their insecurities than your ability. Over time, you get better at seeing exactly who's challenging your authority and who's simply trying to understand it. And you adjust your response accordingly, not emotionally, strategically. Because being a woman in leadership teaches you a level of emotional intelligence that no training can give a man. And finally, there's the moment when this tension becomes something else entirely. It becomes your filter, your standard, your clarity. You stop trying to please the room. You stop performing strength. You stop softening your edge to make other people comfortable. You lead in your own tone, the tone you've earned. Not loud, not soft, just real, just yours. And the people who understand it stay close. The ones who don't move around you, but they no longer move you. That's when you realize something simple. Femininity was never interfering with leadership. It was shaping a different kind of leader, one who doesn't need to shout to be heard. This was Untold, where leadership sounds like a real voice, not the version people expect to hear.